Well, now we don't, so.
Sure.
But yeah, we used to take 10s. And really probably should have had 15, but you only take 10.
Okay,
There's too many.
our house is too full.
I don't think they could
Sorry,
ever.
Jansen and Gentry, you're gone.
You have to sleep on the porch.
Absolutely adore their grandparents, and I make it known. I tell them, I say, you don't realize how lucky you boys are.
Oh, yeah.
Because, coming from a household where I only knew, I briefly knew 2 of my grandparents. At 7 years old, that's tough, especially coming down to, being part of a family that's pretty spread out. I mean, there's a lot of Collinses in this area.
Ever just seen like things fly across the floor, and she looked at me, she said, thank goodness. She said, I've been doing that, and I would have said to be on the search committee, and to be able to, I mean, it was an eye-opener being on the search committee, but it was just a blessing.
Every raffle we got to, I would say, is this a bad one?
And I would say, no, this is a good one.
It's a good one.
And I went rapping a lot of times, and every time we go through rapping, I would pray, dear God, you know I'm only doing this because I love my husband. Please don't let me die doing this. So that's the story.
Good evening, and welcome to another live conversation here at Bethel. As always, we are blessed here at Bethel to have such a wonderful group of people in our congregation, and tonight we have another one of those couples with us here. Rod and Tammy Barrett, welcome.
Hi, Darren.
Thank you.
It's great to have you guys with us here tonight.
Thanks. Thanks for having us.
Well, it's my pleasure. I've known you for so long, it seems like we've always known each other and family forever. So,
It does.
you guys doing okay? Mm-hmm. Up on the hill, doing okay? Is the road doing okay up there?
Doing real good. We got a paved road now. We had a gravel road for years, and now it's paved, so it's real good.
Yeah, us too. So it was
Oh,
really
really?
neat, out by our house. They paved the road out of our house.
Nice.
It's funny because now the left fork of Buck Run is better than the rest of Buck Run, which was already paved. That'll go like
Okay.
in a year or so. We'll get through winter and they'll have potholes again. But right now it's pretty nice.
Good, good.
So how long have you all lived up on the hill?
How long we lived on the hill?
43
43 years.
43 years.
We've lived there since we got married.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Actually, had the trailer a little bit before that.
Yeah, but we weren't living in it.
No, it's true.
Yeah. So I remember that trailer.
Do you?
That's not the trailer that got passed on, was it?
No.
No. Okay.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
It's a different one.
Okay, very good. You got a beautiful house up there now, so
Thank you.
it's a really nice place that you have there,
We
up on
feel
top of the hill
blessed.
overlooking stuff.
Prayed for that for a long time. And I had given up deciding that we looked at building 2 or 3 times probably over the years. And finally I just prayed and said, Lord, if you want us to live in this trailer for the rest of our life, I'll be good with that. And, I think it was that.
No, she didn't tell me that.
I told God that. And so anyway, it wasn't
28
just a
years.
few months after that, though, that we did follow through and got the house. So,
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, it is a beautiful place, and you've had the Sunday school class over several times, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
So turned out really well. So I'm glad that worked out.
Me too.
Living in a trailer, and some people that's okay, and some trailers are great, but it's we started when we first bought the house down. Mom and Dad bought the house down on the farm. We lived in that trailer, and still remember bits and pieces of it, but it's different.
Yes.
You can hear the rain.
You can hear the rain, but it's close quarters. And, start out 2 kids, and then 8 years later, 2 more kids.
Yeah.
So it got quite noisy, and we were close.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Good times, right? Mostly, yeah, sure. The kids, 4 kids, right?
4 kids.
I know them all.
Yeah.
Tell me about them.
Matthew's 42, married.
Old man,
Old man,
42,
yeah.
there you go.
42.
He's got 4 kids now.
Married and 4 children. Court just settled on the adoption on Friday for the 2 girls.
Wonderful.
They had got out of foster care. And Jacob is 14, I think.
Oh, wow,
14,
already.
yeah. And Jaron is 10. Yeah. And anyway, nice family. So,
Very good. And Matt and Laura are wonderful, and we're part of our 4-H club, so it's great to see them and see the kids growing up there, so.
yeah, they really enjoy 4-H and having the projects. And it's disappointing this year because they
Sure.
couldn't have their projects, but they've made really good money out of their projects too by raising them through
Sure,
4-H. So
absolutely.
that was good. And then we have Eric, and Eric is 40, and
Yeah.
he's married to Morgan, and then they have 3 children.
Very good.
And Maya is 16.
Yes, wow.
Yeah, she's the oldest. She's 16, and then Channing is 12, and then Ace, and Ace is 5, going to be 6 here in about a month.
Okay,
So ornery is all get out.
well,
Just like his dad.
hopefully,
Just like his dad.
I will say, hopefully giving everything back to Eric that Eric deserves.
Yeah. He's got a real sweet spirit about him, though. He's just a sweet boy, but he's ornery. So we've kept him a good bit. But,
Good,
and then we have Cody and Susan,
yes,
and had a good year. We got moved into their new home.
right.
Now we're waiting to see if they decide to have children. Trying to be patient.
Yeah, Pastor Aaron has mentioned that to him a couple times,
Has
I
he?
believe, too. So,
Good,
you know,
good.
that encouragement is going on.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. And then Elizabeth married to Wes, and right now they live in Williamstown. They've
Okay.
lived in Illinois, and they've lived in Louisiana and Michigan.
Okay.
And now they're in
Williamstown.
Williamstown. Yeah. So anyway, 2 boys. Wyatt is 5. He was 5 in June, and then Preston is 3. He just turned 3.
That's cool.
So
It's hard for me to envision Elizabeth as a mom, you know.
oh,
like,
sure.
you know,
Because you babysit her.
yeah, I babysat all 4 of them, you know, and we, you
Yeah.
know, Amy and I
You and Amy.
made that attempt a couple of times, and we both survived it, as hard as that was on us.
Yeah.
I still remember wrestling with them, and the boys had me pinned down, and here comes Elizabeth up over the top with her knees right on my chest.
I don't doubt that one bit.
Well, she's got Preston.
Yeah. Well, Wyatt's plenty ornery,
Ornery,
but Preston pushes it.
Well, good.
Yeah,
good.
I figured
am
you'd be
so
happy.
happy to hear that.
Yeah, I figured you would be. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a dandy.
Well, good. So having them all close to home has got to be wonderful, you guys.
It is. We love it. We really
Very
do.
good.
It's a little noisy sometimes,
Yeah,
but
sure.
we love it.
Yeah. Yeah, Aubrey and her husband and the 4 kids, they were in visiting for the wedding.
Yeah.
Stephen got married this weekend, and they were in visiting to be part of the wedding, and it always adds a lot of extra noise to the house,
It
which is
does.
fine. They
Gotta
left this
adjust to
morning.
that, though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's funny, the first time that happened with us, is like, you know, I'm kind of used to them not being here, and when they show up, it's like, whew, man, I love having them, but it's so different.
Yeah, it's a breath of relief when they leave, but it's always fun to have them
Oh,
to
absolutely.
come.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
just different the older you get.
Sure, absolutely. I love walking them around, and they live where they live in Florida. They live in a development down there, which is really nice for them. But the kids have never really gotten to know the farm life much.
Right.
And so, you know, I always get the opportunity to ride them around on the buggy, and you know, even Sunday afternoon we went down and saw the cows, and
Oh, good.
all the cows came running around. So, and you know, they get excited about that, which is cool. So
Yeah, that
taking
is
them over
good.
and trying to get them on a horse every chance I get to. So.
Well, we try to get ours on a motorcycle or a 4-wheeler.
So 43 years of marriage and 9 grandkids. That's wonderful. That's truly a blessed life.
It is.
Yeah.
We do feel blessed, yeah.
Talking about motorcycles and four-wheelers and stuff, Rod, I know that you are a big part of that Lemon and Barrett's that we have here in town. How long you been with that company or running that company?
We started it 25 years ago.
25 years, wow. And you and Mike,
Lemon.
Paul, that's
Yeah,
right.
Paul Lemon.
Paul started that business from scratch, right? Wow.
We did.
That
There
is
wasn't
cool.
anything there when we started.
Sure. What made you want to go into four-wheelers and motorcycles? Or is that how that business started?
We actually worked on lawn equipment too back then. But,
Sure.
I didn't have a job.
Okay.
I'd worked for I'd been in motorcycles or power sports business, they call it now. I've been in the power sports business since 72.
Okay.
And I actually run the store, for 10, 12 years. So
Yeah.
I got that experience through actually living it. And I had a problem with the new owner and left. And then Paul called me up. I was unemployed for 3 months. First time I was ever
Yeah.
unemployed in my life. And Paul called me up. I'd found a job and was going to start on Monday. He called me Sunday night and said, "Hey, if we're ever going to try this, this will be the best time of our life ever to try it."
Yeah.
So we tried it, and it was a little shaky for a couple of years.
Yeah, I
Well,
imagine.
they'd actually started doing used parts.
Yeah, we started used parts, which
Okay.
Yeah.
really helped us out because there was nobody in the area. It was kind of our niche, which we don't really do as much anymore.
Right.
The internet's kind of taken over the used part
Yeah.
thing. There wasn't no internet back in
Right.
95, 96. Not like you have today, no
Right.
eBay and all that.
Yeah. Well, very cool.
But
And,
God's been good to us. Hopefully here in another 5 to 6 weeks, we'll be moving in. We have 2 stores now. We'll be moving both of those into one building
yeah.
over on the other side of Walmart there in South Parkersburg.
Very good. So you'll have the building open before they have the road open then?
Hopefully not.
They got a long ways to go on that road, it seems like.
Well, they're only going to open one lane this year.
Okay, okay.
And it's supposed to be open sometime in the middle of November. So hopefully it'll open a week or so before we do.
Very good. That will
And
be
then
nice.
they got to move dirt where you're coming down the hill over by Hino.
Uh-huh.
They got to fill a lot of dirt in that area to get the other lane in.
Oh,
So they won't have time this fall probably to finish it.
right.
So they might move some dirt, but they're going to finish it next spring.
Okay. Very
As
good.
long as we don't have any more viruses or anything else going on next year.
Yeah, well, it's well, that's certainly been a trying time for everybody, businesses and personal life and church life, everything. It's
been-
tough.
You have to learn to adapt.
Sure. And I know that you all have been able to keep your business open because it's part of those necessary.
Yeah. Because we sell, people use motorcycle stuff for transportation, and we were deemed necessary, which.
Sure.
But the 1st of March, we laid off half our employees because
Right.
there wasn't anything going on.
Right.
And but by the 1st of April, we had called everybody back.
Wow.
So we had somebody watching over us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely blessed and watched over because so many businesses have suffered. And
Sure.
so we feel
Yeah,
like
we
the Lord
we
watched
have been
over
blessed
us.
this year.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, it doesn't seem like the four-wheelers and the buggies and stuff have slowed down out home anyhow. You know?
Oh, I know.
Out by
At our
my
house
place, they're,
too.
they're forever going up and down the road. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that business is there, and there's a lot of people that enjoy that, for sure. I'm not so much for me. I'd rather be on a horse, but my brother, he enjoys doing all those buggy rides and going in the mud and stuff, and which is cool. They like that. So, Tammy, Rod's been doing the business for 25 years. What have you been doing for those 25 years?
I have been raising my children.
And such a good job too.
It had different people have asked me over the years, where do you work? You know, what kind of job do you have? And, you know, I always knew from when we first got married, you know, I just wanted to have children, raise my children, and raise them up to know who God is. And I just always felt like that's what He wanted me to do. And, you know, we were blessed enough at the time when he worked at the other dealership that, you know, we were able for me to stay home
Sure.
and take care of the kids. And at that time, it was just Matthew and Eric. And
Right.
then 8 years later, then Cody and Elizabeth came
Yeah.
along. And, you know, I think somehow, you know, even when he was laid off, I remember thinking, oh boy, what's Christmas going to look like this year, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Because we've not had a lot, and we've been blessed to have a little more.
Sure.
And so you just have to choose what's important and how you want to live, and you know, just deal with it. And
Right.
we made some tough choices sometimes, some easy choices, and some were harder. And with what things kids could buy or could wear, all the name brand things, they didn't always get to do that, but we always set a money limit. You can
Sure.
spend, we'll give you this much money, anything else above that, you have to put your money towards
Sure.
it. So that worked out, seemed to do well for them.
Well, good. You know, and it helps the kids learn.
Yeah.
If they want more, they got to work for it, right?
Right,
You know.
Yeah.
So very good.
that's right.
So I've got to ask, because it's always one of my favorites from you guys, is what was the best decision, buying that big van or selling that big van?
Oh, man. We loved that big black
Probably
van.
both, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had that thing for 8 or 9 years.
Sure.
yeah. We went camping in it. We threw a
With 4
futon
kids,
mattress.
it worked out well.
It was perfect.
Oh yeah.
Because we just camped all over, and we did just tent camping and
And that's back
taking
when,
it over on the island when we
Sure,
did 4-H
absolutely, yeah.
trips over to Blennerhassett Island to make apple butter, and taking on the barge over there. And I mean, we had that van everywhere, and it was kind of sad to see it go, because it was a gas guzzler, that's for sure.
and dollar gas was like $1 a gallon back in those days.
Yeah, we thought it was
I think
really
it had
bad.
a 38-gallon gas tank. I wouldn't want to fill that up today.
No,
And she'd burn it all up in a week and more.
we had a lot of run around, we did, and brought the kids to Wednesday night, and we'd pick up some other friends
Sure.
to bring to Awana, you know. And it really worked out great for us. We loved it.
Well, good. You know, those big vehicles, so, you know, a lot of people wonder about them, but, you know, for you guys, that thing worked out great.
Oh,
It worked out wonderful.
Yeah.
For us, it was that older Suburban that we had.
Oh,
We
yeah.
had that one. It was, and
I
it
remember.
was the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it was big enough for all of us, plus a couple of the dogs.
Right.
And we took that thing everywhere. We drove that everywhere, and
Yeah.
it really did wonderful for us. So it was a blessing to have it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's neat how those, you don't think about some of those things, but those are truly blessings, you know. And
Yeah, I
you
forgot
know,
about that. The one thing I do remember is Cody had this one friend, and I kept on him all the time about putting her
He only
seatbelts
had
on.
one friend, right?
One friend, one
One
particular
friend.
night. So I remember kept telling him, sit down, put your seatbelt on, sit down, you know. Well, one time he tried to get away with not putting his seatbelt on, the friend
Yeah.
that we were bringing to church.
Sure.
And I turned around and I rear-ended someone in front of me, and he went flying through and hit his head on the big old round center thing that covered the engine up in that van. Oh my gosh, I said, see, that's why I said put your seatbelt on.
That's exactly right. Put your seatbelt on.
Yeah. But,
Oh, wow. So Rod, you've lived up on that hill, up Farrah Hill, out here in what is that, Murphytown?
Murphytown.
For about all your life, then, right?
All except for 2 years, so
Yeah.
64 years we've lived out, I've lived out there.
Sure. Wow. And because that's where your mom and dad grew up, where your mom and dad were at, and where your brother just Pete and Susie, your brother and sister, were at. You know, out on the farm where we're at, I've grown up there about all my life too. I was, I don't know, I want to say 4 or 5 years old when we moved down to the farm, and it's still where I live. So it's neat to be able to grow up in that same area as you get to know all the people and you get to see a lot of changes. Things have changed, I know, a lot just from the times that I've been out there and associated with being out there on Ferry Hill. Things have changed a lot. So I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes there.
Several more houses out there than
Yeah.
was when we moved there.
That's the way it is down in Buck Run. There's a lot of houses, more houses. Well, a lot of houses there that used to be hay fields that I used to have to put hay in. So it's like, yeah, it's always interesting to drive down the road. Yeah, there was a barn there, was a hay field there, and you know, and now it's house. So,
Yeah,
Tammy, you grew up in Southside Parkersburg?
I did, and I was just thinking, you know, most people would think a city girl going to live out in the country, that was just, you know, crazy.
Sure.
But I had a aunt and uncle that lives in Ravenswood, and they used to have a horse farm.
Oh, okay.
And so I used to love to go down there and ride the horses and be
Yes.
out. And so, you know, when he took me out to his house, I just loved it out there. And
Very
so
cool.
I've always enjoyed living out and never once wanted to move into the city
Yeah.
anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah, when Amy and I first got married, we lived on Rayon Drive.
Yes, I remember that
Yes.
house on Rayon
Yes, I
Drive.
hated that house.
You did?
Oh yeah, it was a rental, you know, but
Yeah.
it was a house for us to live in.
Yeah.
Grew up on the farm, right?
Yeah,
you
I know,
out in the
true.
country, where if somebody goes up and down the road, you get up and look because they're either supposed to be there or you're wondering why they're there. You know.
yeah, I
On Rayon
understand.
Drive, it took me a long time to not have to stand up and look out the window every time I heard a car.
True. Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of my favorites.
I
It was good
understand.
for us when we first lived there, but yeah, I'm glad I'm not living in town.
Yeah, we are too.
And how many siblings do you have, Timmy?
3.
Three.
Three.
Okay.
I'm the oldest, and then I've got a brother about 2 years behind me. He's in Mobile, Texas. Mobile, Alabama. I gotta
There
get
may
my
be a
geography
Mobile,
right.
Texas, I don't know.
My sister lives in Texas, in Tyler, Texas, and
Okay.
she's the youngest.
Very good.
And then I've got a brother in between her and my other brother, and he's in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Very good.
So,
Very good. So kind of spread out around the country.
yes.
Yeah.
I was the only one that stayed in West Virginia. So even my mom and dad at one point moved away to South
South
Carolina.
Carolina, yeah.
And then they
About
ended
10
up,
years they were down there.
yeah, for about 10 years. And then they came back and well, my dad passed and
Right.
then she came back here to live.
Well, good.
So,
Good. It's good that you have her close to you as well.
yes, it is good.
How long have y'all been coming to Bethel? I know you guys were here when Amy and I first started.
Yeah,
Uh,
Matthew was small, around 40.
About 42 years, yeah. We come here when the year Matthew was born. Come here in
Oh,
78.
okay. Very good.
Yeah,
Wow, that's a long time. So you've seen a
Long
lot of
time.
changes here at the church.
sure have.
A lot of people
Yes,
that have come through and moved on and
Right.
doing different things with their lives. So
right.
very cool. Tammy, I know one of the things that you've done a lot here at the church and finding out a little bit more is some of the missionary work that you do through the missionary board and a couple other things. How long have you been on the missionary board here at Bethel?
I'm not sure. I would guess approximately 25 years, but
Okay.
I'm not positive. I know that I first was introduced to missions through Pastor Dan when he was here. And he
Yes.
had a mission class and just wanted to educate people on what missions is. And so I took that class, and it was a lot of, we had a book that we went through, and we had lots of homework and stuff like that, and I really learned so much. And then just them sharing their lives and when they had went to Spain and
Okay.
things that I knew that happened there. And I just loved every minute of it and felt like this is what God's preparing me for, just to learn more about it and do what I could to support missions in the church.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You done any mission trips on your own?
I have. We started
First
in
one was Mexico.
Mexico in 2000 was the first time we went out of the country, and that was with Pastor Randy, Max, and
It was 97, that one was.
that one was nice. Okay.
Oh, wow. I
Pastor-
remember that. I remember
Do
when
ya?
that team went down there
Yeah.
and visited, what was it?
Beefus.
Our
Guadalajara.
sister church down there was,
Beefus,
okay,
and Tim Woodring. It was
And
where we
met
first met
Tim for the
Woodring.
first time
Okay.
down there.
Yeah.
very cool.
But it was me and Rod and Max and Dan and Diane
And Randy.
and Randy, Pastor Randy.
Very cool.
So, yeah, it was just to kind of investigate a partnership with the church down there.
Right.
We had supported Tim and Janet Beefus, and they were working with Church Gethsemane Baptist down there, and they had a missions pastor that they were encouraging, and they worked alongside him and did a lot of different outreaches in the area around Guadalajara, Mexico. So we went down to kind of check those places out, check their church out.
Yeah.
Tim and Janet actually went to another church, so we had two different churches we visited, and then I got to know Tim Woodring, was a missionary then.
Constantino.
Pastor Constantino was the missions pastor there at Gethsemane, and so that trip took us to like 5 different cities in Mexico.
Oh, wow.
You would enjoy it. You saw the men riding the horses
Okay.
along the town and had their cowboy hats on,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just they were farmers and
Sure.
had cattle and.
We visited one big farm. They had church right there. He had a garage, and they actually had a church there in his
Kind of a garage, a barn
Yeah,
that he had
Yeah.
held church in.
but every Sunday they had
Yeah.
it there. We went to another church on a Sunday. Me and her, we split up and went to different ones, and it was a storage building.
Okay.
Yeah, that was in a town, one of the towns.
That was in Guadalajara.
Guadalajara.
But those people down there teach you how to pray.
Oh,
Yes.
really? Oh,
You
wow.
know, they're just happy as can be. I mean,
Always.
they're having church in a storage building, and
Sure.
they're just happy as can be.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
that really struck us that, they don't have near the things that we did, and yet the joy
Good people.
in their heart just came out,
Yeah.
and just being able, just loved on us, welcomed us. We just felt welcomed everywhere we went. It's that body of believers that it's all over the world, and the Holy Spirit just binds you together, and it was a great time of worship. We enjoyed that. So that was one of them, and then we went back a few years later.
Well, you went on that one. I didn't.
Yeah, that was the one that
Took Shannon.
Pastor Jamie and Mandy had organized.
Okay.
And I think Amanda Sands and Shannon Barrett and us, and then Mandy's mother and dad, Bill and Linda. We actually went and worked with Tim Woodring and was going to do some VBS. Shannon and them, most of our church congregation here went to Los Minerales,
Okay.
and visited and did a 5-day Bible school there.
Okay.
And then I went with Mandy's mom and dad and 2 other ladies from their church, and we did a VBS. I'm trying to remember if that was Moscota. I think it was, yeah. That was Moscota. So that was a further out. It was about 2-3 hours out of Guadalajara.
Oh.
But just an amazing time, and I didn't speak Spanish fluently. I had taken Spanish in class in high school, but didn't really get a lot.
Yeah,
But I had worked at it, on my own.
Sure.
And learned a few words, and you still can get with people of another language. You can still speak and talk about God, and then working with the children was always just a joy, and just getting to know the people, and it was a great time.
I don't guess I was, I don't recall the second trip.
Okay.
that Bethel went down on and doing that. I remember some of them, some of the people went out to Colorado
Yes.
at one time
That was
and
another
did a
mission
mission
trip
trip there,
that
but I don't
Pastor.
remember that one down to Mexico.
Yes,
Yeah.
Pastor Jamie and Mandy organized that, and I think Margie Simonis went to that, and Amanda Sands went to that, and Eric Simonis went to. I'm not
can't
positive of
remember.
that. Anyway, they did a VBS there.
Okay.
Pastor Jamie was good to
Boz.
get you trained, huh?
The missionary there was
Cosby's.
Cosby, so I was thinking
John
Bosley's
and
Cosby.
Marge Cosby,
Cosby.
Okay.
out in Colorado, and so they organized. It was like a 5-day club thing
Yeah.
that they did. But anyway, just organized that and worked with him with training them to do that. One of the things that we did early on as a church, when Pastor Dan and Diane was still here, was we had taken Cody and Elizabeth and, Pam and Ed and Linda and Dave and us and Dan and Diane went, and we went to the Center for Intercultural Training, and it was down in North Carolina, I can't remember the town. And they trained missionaries.
Right.
To go on the field and learn about the different cultures, how to deal with the different cultures, language learning, and that kind of stuff. So
Mandy and Jamie went there, part of their training.
part of their,
Before
yeah,
they
that's
left,
true.
yeah.
Before they went on the field, Mandy and Jamie actually went there to learn. But we went to prepare the dorms and get them fixed up, trimmed
Yes.
hedges, mowed. Some of them worked in the mail room, and Rod, he worked with another guy, and they worked on mowers and weed eaters and,
Fixed equipment.
You knew how to do that, didn't you?
yes, lots of training doing that. So he did all kinds of stuff like that.
Very
That was
cool.
a fun thing to do.
Yeah. Very neat.
Yeah, so it's
And
good.
yeah, and you brought Cody and Elizabeth back with you, obviously.
We
so,
did.
You know,
We did.
it's,
But I have to say, the highlight of all the different mission trips was when I went to Africa, and that was with Teresa. And I
yes.
was 2014,
Okay.
and her mother, Naomi, she and Teresa and I went over to take some VBS Sunday school materials. We actually used it for junior church, chronological Bible teaching. And
Okay.
we took it to one of Jamie's churches he was working with and taught them how to teach the material. So that was fun.
Very cool. Yeah, now those opportunities are a little more limited now to go
Yes.
back to Africa with
Yeah.
Jamie and Mandy moving back to the
Right.
States.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that they're not available.
Right. That was a dream that come true. I've always, since I was a little girl, wanted to go to Africa.
Sure.
And I felt like that just, God allowed me to do that. And I used to dream about it and everything. It was just a real blessing to be among the people and worship with them.
So missionaries around the work
Yeah,
missionaries here in the church, here locally. I know you're involved with a couple other things, right?
yeah. I used to work at the Women's Care Center and I used to go in once a week, and I was a options counselor.
Sure.
So women came in, we gave them options of their situation. We listened a lot, tried to guide them through the Word, looked for opportunities to present the gospel
Sure.
to them, and was blessed to see a few come to know the Lord myself. And Rod was always supportive of the ministry too, and the walks, the banquets that we held every year. He always helped with, whether it was cleaning up or setting up or whatever, and then the walks, taking up money for the walks, counting forms, all that has to go into play too. So we did that, and So now I felt the Lord calling me out of that. I served there for about 15 years, and
Yeah.
then I am just doing the fundraising banquet.
Okay.
Well, fundraising committee, I guess,
Sure.
for the banquet and for the walk.
Yeah.
So that's basically the two things I work with now. But do that, and then I'm also participating in Bible study fellowship. It's an international Bible study. It's open to anyone to come and learn the Bible. We do one Bible book a year,
Okay.
and it goes on just for 9 months, the school year.
Yeah.
So it's a unique opportunity in that it's layered. You've got your material that you work on for your homework. You have questions, you answer scripture passages, and then we will discuss them in a class situation of 12, 15 ladies. And then we go and hear a lecture on that. And then we get notes from Bible scholars that BSF has pulled together, and they write notes on that particular topic for that study. And this year, of course, is quite different. It started last spring with doing Zoom.
Zoom.
So I had to learn Zoom.
Yeah.
So got through that, and now we're starting up, and we have been doing Zoom with that, and we're studying Genesis this year.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, Zoom is certainly a popular format. There's a lot of different organizations that use that Zoom format.
Yeah.
So, but the BSF, that is a very neat ministry, I guess. You know, to be able to gather together.
Well, it is, because you can have little Bible knowledge or you can have a lot of Bible knowledge. But the good thing is that when you're gathering with a group of women and sharing opinions of what you think that the Holy Spirit has talked to you
Sure.
about the passage, and then you teach other people and broaden people's point of view of the way that you can look at a particular passage. And then as a leader, then I also follow up with my 15, 16 ladies during the week and find out what's going on in their life. And I just love being part of women's ministry and to encourage them, you know, pray with them, whatever, you know. That's been a real blessing.
So it's not just a study, it's a discipleship type of program too.
Yes,
And
it
not a
is.
program, but a opportunity. Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
And you were saying before the spring, when everything changed, you were meeting, 200 or 300 people were part of this that were meeting
Yeah.
regularly?
Over 300, aren't
Over
they?
300, close to 400 this last year,
Wow.
ladies in the area. We actually have two different places. One's the one I go to, the daytime BSF is on Rosemar Road, up between Rosemar and Emerson, I guess, and Grace Baptist Church. And then there's an evening class meets on Tuesday nights at 7, and they have elementary age children all the way up through high school, actually.
Okay.
And then they have a ladies, separate ladies part 2. So that's another opportunity for the area. So
Wow.
we're blessed to be able to have that, because they don't come in to open BSF up like that in this amount of people usually. So we were like right on the cutoff. They started trying, they grew so fast, and they were getting bigger cities.
Yeah.
So we're really blessed to be able to have them here.
Very good. So I will ask you with the, I know like we have here at Bethel, we've changed a lot of our ministry by being able to do much more online.
Right.
And we have a lot of people that probably may have never come to Bethel joining us online. We've seen that a little bit. Have you seen anything like that with BSF, being able to do it online? Have you seen any growth through doing an internet version versus in person?
I think the growth is a little different. I don't know numbers off the top of my head, but I think that you have some older ladies that really struggled to be able to do that, and some of them didn't. Some of them been in it for years and decided to step out. But we found some women that had never been exposed to it, that it was kind of convenient for them to be able to do it online. And because of the health restrictions right now, it's made it easy for some people that have health issues to be able to still participate.
Sure.
And, you know, like I'm traveling to Texas to be with my sister, and I'm just going to do Zoom down there. So
Absolutely.
it's convenient
Yeah.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like work, you know. We take it home, and now they expect us to do it at home too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's been a growth opportunity for sure, and it's neat to like here. I hope and that we continue the online interaction that we have, and you know it'll change a little bit and if we have that opportunity to get past this pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And in other organizations like BSF, they could probably see a lot of growth through that. And I've always looked at this as not necessarily a, you know, oh, what are we going to do now? But it's always amazing. God uses these opportunities and
Yes.
puts us into place.
Right.
And if we had not had to do it, we probably would have never grown into this.
I agree.
Right,
I think
so-
he prepares us for those
Sure.
changes, but he's opening it up, and you know, BSF is always trying to reach the next generation.
Sure, absolutely.
And this younger age generation, 30, 40-year-olds, you know, technology is second nature to them.
Well, and it's an online class, right?
Yes,
You know, whether it's
right.
an online class through college, it's an online class through BSF or whatever, they're used to that.
Right.
Absolutely. You know, I've never taken an online college course myself, but all of my kids have, for sure. And Caroline is in the nursing program, and she does a lot of her classes online, sitting at home, which is a great opportunity to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we have taken advantage of that here at Bethel and allowed the ministry to grow. And I certainly see it as growth.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah,
BSF
sure.
and different organizations, I imagine, have as well.
Well, and I mean, it's changed the way Rodnam do advertising and that kind of stuff too, with technology.
Absolutely,
and all
sure.
that over the last few years.
Yeah. So I know, you know, as things have grown, have progressed, Rod, you've had a couple of surgeries over the years? A couple? How are
More
you
than
doing?
I
How are you
wanted.
doing from a health standpoint? You look like you're doing great.
Yeah, this year's been pretty good.
Good.
I got a knee replacement last January.
Okay.
And then I had a few issues. I always have issues. I had a few issues with it. But it's
Nothing
going
has
good.
Talk about
ever
those for just a
smooth.
second.
Maybe it's,
It's not smooth. Anything that he does, it's always
No.
something happens.
I'm still
Sure.
trying to train her to be a good nurse.
Oh,
I-
well,
I
I
think-
doubt that.
I think God has me in training. No, seriously, if you know me, I'm not an overly, I don't have the gift of mercy,
Okay.
like some in the church do. I don't, and so I feel like God really is trying to push that.
Is that why he gave you the gift of patience? Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah, yeah. But, yeah, he's had a time,
She's getting better. I've given her a little practice time.
that's for sure. Well, 2 years ago was 5 surgeries in 1 year, so that was quite a bit to deal
Wow,
with.
5 surgeries in 1 year. You did, you know, Amy's had several as well. But
Right.
that 5 surgeries in 1 year, that's got to be tough. It's
too many.
I want to say amazing here, but that's just got to be tough, is what that's got to be.
Yeah, tough year. But God was so good during that whole year. We would do our devotion that morning, and it's that devotion that we read, no matter what it was, always seemed to fit us for that day.
Sure.
It was just enough encouragement to get us to through the next hump, you know, over the hump. And then just people, God bringing people around from the church or, you know, family. Cody's wife Susan was so good to come and help do the IV therapy when he had to have it for 6 weeks.
Oh,
And,
wow.
yeah, it's just,
God always takes care of you.
God
Yes, he
takes care of
does.
us.
Yes, he does, no matter what. And we don't always see it, but he's always there taking care of us.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
you know, so very cool. Rod and Tammy, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you here with us tonight. And like I said, I feel like I've known you all my life, and certainly a large portion of it. We've had some good times together,
have.
whether, you know, in 4-H making apple butter or just other things and interactions with your family and kids.
Yeah.
It's truly been a blessing. And certainly hope for many, many years to come of being able to pick on each other.
We have enjoyed these interactions too. You know, we've been here for a while at this church, but this has been a good thing.
You're talking about the life
The
conversations.
life conversations, yes.
Yeah.
So we appreciate what you've done in this
Yes,
too.
for
Oh,
sure.
I've got the easy job. Cody and Grant sit back there. They've got to put up with us and adjust these things. They're the ones working the magic. I get to sit up here and have fun.
Well,
So
it's great. And it went by really fast. I was surprised.
Thank you for joining us
You're
here
welcome.
tonight. And we're going to have some more fun here later. You know, God's
sure.
got lots of stuff for us to do.
Yeah,
You know?
that's right.
We look forward to that new store opening up and being, that'll be great to have it there and everything back together. As always, as we finish up here tonight, it's been a good time to be able to have a conversation with friends and family. And what is God doing in your life? We'd love to hear from you.
Hold it all together, everybody needs you strong. Life hits you out of nowhere, barely leaves you holding on. When you're tired of fighting